This is Dubai. It is by far the richest city in the Middle East and also one of the safest, earning it the title of the crown jewel of the region. Yet it feels out of place. Major cities surrounding it like Cairo, Baghdad, and even Riyadh have centuries of Islamic architecture, chaotic street life, and of course, mesmerizing marketplaces. Yet Dubai barely has any of this. It's super clean, controlled, and master planned, an outlier to the rest of the region. But how did it end up like this? How did Dubai become such a unique city and redefine what a Middle Eastern city could even look like? Well, contrary to popular belief, the concept of what Dubai could be didn't start with skyscrapers or even oil. It started much earlier. Before the 1890s, Dubai was developing similarly to many other Gulf towns, as a small fishing village with traditional tribal systems and modest trade. It was only in 1894 when Sheikh Maktoum bin Hashar Al Maktoum rose to power after the death of his uncle that we started to see Dubai go in a different direction. Maktoum's rule saw the fast expansion of the pearling industry, as well as the opening of new businesses along Dubai's increasingly busy creekside wharfage. Things really took off in 1901 though, when Sheikh Maktoum established Dubai as a free port with no taxation on imports or exports, and also gave merchants parcels of land and guarantees of protection. This was timed perfectly, with when many Persian Gulf ports were raising their tariffs, resulting in many merchants relocating to Dubai. The growth of the port was evident in the stats. For example, between 1899 and 1901, the Bombay and Persia Steam Navigation Company was making 5 visits annually to Dubai. Yet in 1902, the company's vessels made 21 visits. And from 1904 onwards, it was every 2 weeks. By 1906, they were trading 70,000 tons of cargo annually. Keep in mind that at this time, Dubai had been a British protectorate since 1892, when it signed what was known as the Exclusive Agreement as part of the newly formed Trucial States. Under this deal, Britain took control of Dubai's foreign policy and military defense in exchange for Dubai not engaging with rival powers. So they got to retain full autonomy over everything else, from infrastructure to economic policy, while not having to spend money on a military. For a small trading town with limited resources, this was a massive advantage. When the pearling industry collapsed in the late 1920s due to the Great Depression and rise of Japanese artificial pearls, many cities in the Gulf like Muscat and Doha collapsed into poverty. And while this made Dubai suffer massively too, they were able to somewhat adapt through their tax-free trade policies, especially without oil yet. The next big steps came in the 50s, when Dubai became a known hub for gold smuggling, especially into India, where gold imports were restricted by law. Around this time, Sheikh Rashid bin Zayed Al Maktoum became ruler of Dubai in 1958. He's widely regarded as the driving force behind the city's expansion. He borrowed huge amounts of money from Kuwait to fund the dredging of the Dubai Creek in 1963, since the creek was too small for modern ships to dock there, causing severe economic effects. It was a big risk, but highly successful, and enabled vessels of any size to dock at the port. This made the gold smuggling market even more lucrative. In 1966, more gold was shipped from London to Dubai than almost anywhere else in the world, at 4 million ounces. Dubai also took delivery of over $15 million worth of watches and over 5 million ounces of silver. Estimates at the time put the volume of gold imports from Dubai to India at around 75% of the total market. The profits from trade and smuggling weren't just enriching the city, they were buying Dubai time to survey land for oil. See, their rival city Abu Dhabi struck oil in 1958, allowing them to begin rapidly modernizing. So Sheikh Rashid knew that if Dubai was ever going to rival the great ports of the world, it needed resources. And in 1966, after years of exploration, they finally found it. At the newly discovered Fatah oil field, the oil was in far smaller quantities than Abu Dhabi's, which make up 95% of the UAE's oil reserves. But it was enough. It led to an acceleration in Sheikh Rashid's infrastructure development plans, and a construction boom that brought a massive influx of foreign workers. Between 1968 and 1975, the city's population grew by over 300%. Unfortunately, I must note though, many of these foreign workers were heavily exploited, marking the beginning of the complaints of Dubai being built by slaves. But Sheikh Rashid knew that Dubai's oil wasn't something they could rely on like Abu Dhabi, and they used the oil money to diversify in ways no other Middle Eastern city could have imagined. This is for better or worse, when we got to see the fabric of traditional Dubai begin to get destroyed. Highways were pushed through what had been dense traditional quarters. Entire neighborhoods along Bur Dubai and Deira, including many coral stone houses and mosques, were demolished to make way for a new, modern city. Between this happening, another major shift occurred, this time politically. Britain formally withdrew from the Gulf in 1971, and the Trucial States joined together to form the UAE. Sheikh Rashid agreed to join the federation only under the condition that Dubai would retain full control over its local economy, trade policy, and development plans, which it does to this day. This means that Dubai got to fully skip being stunted or controlled by colonialism at all, really. Unlike many other cities in the Middle East did, especially when we look at Damascus being heavily bombarded by the French or Beirut having virtually zero autonomy under them either. Essentially, Abu Dhabi, which holds the vast majority of the country's oil reserves, became the federal capital and the main engine behind the UAE's military, foreign policy, and budget. This meant that while Dubai was free to pursue ambitious economic experiments, it also had Abu Dhabi's petrodollars to fall back on, which by the way happened during the Great Recession in 2008. But that's a story for another time. This semi-sovereign, economically autonomous structure is quite a rarity to see. Only cities like Monaco or pre-2019 Hong Kong have had this kind of structure, and we can see how wealthy they became. Meanwhile, major cities in the Middle East like Cairo, Riyadh, and Baghdad are deeply tied to centralized national governments that control everything. Anyways, with Dubai's finite amount of oil, which in the 1970s was making up 40% of their GDP, it was invested into diversification almost immediately. Port Rashid opened in 1972, which was the first purpose-built, large-scale commercial shipping port that effectively replaced the Dubai Creek as the city's main trading hub. And then the Jebel Ali port came in 1979 to supplement it. This is where things really got crazy. The scale was ambitious from the beginning, including over 1 million square meters of container yard spaces and being the world's largest man-made harbor. Naturally, with Dubai's geographical location on the Persian Gulf Coast, sitting at the crossroads of Europe, Asia, and Africa, it made this port extremely lucrative. Then afterwards, Sheikh Rashid set up the Jebel Ali Free Zone, a free trade zone, around it with a wide range of incentives for businesses, like zero corporate tax, no import-export duties, no personal income taxes, no corporate taxes, no currency restrictions, and so much more, essentially supercharging Dubai's rise into what it is today. The zone went from 19 companies in 1985 to 500 in 1995, to over 11,000 today, including over 100 Fortune Global 500 companies. Meanwhile, the port has become the busiest in the Middle East and the 9th busiest in the world. The success of the Jebel Ali Free Zone led to the development of new ones, all centered around different industries. The Dubai Internet City opened in 1999 to attract global tech firms. The Dubai Media City just a year after to attract media organizations. Then there's the Dubai Healthcare City in 2002. And yeah, you get what I mean. These have all been extremely successful too, attracting thousands of the richest companies in the world to have headquarters there. During this 90s-2000s period is when we also really start to see Dubai begin rebranding itself as a luxury and tourism capital. The first project was the Burj Al Arab in 1999, one of the world's most iconic and expensive hotels, commonly referred to now as the world's only 7-star hotel. Next came the Palm Jumeirah in 2008, an archipelago of artificial islands with luxury real estate all over them. That same year, the Dubai Mall opened, which has everything from an ice rink to an underwater zoo, giving Dubai the title of the shopping capital of the Middle East. And finally, for the most part at least, there's the Burj Khalifa, the tallest building in the world, for now at least, at 2,717 feet. It all seemingly worked too. As of 2024, Dubai was the 7th most visited city in the world, with almost 19 million visitors. And if we look at their economy, they went from having oil make up 40% of their GDP to now just 1%. Now, I want to talk a bit more about the actual city planning of Dubai. Like I said before, after oil was discovered, much of what was historic got torn down for new development. Even today, the only well-preserved part of pre-oil Dubai is the Al Fahidi historical neighborhood, also known as Al Bastakia, and even then, barely half of it remains today. It would have been fully destroyed if not for British architect Rayner Otter, who wrote a letter to then Prince Charles in 1989 urging him to intervene when he was to visit Dubai, which he ended up doing. Any other parts of historic Dubai, like Al Shindaga or Al Seef, are products of recent major reconstructions and aren't like the original thing anymore. This couldn't be further from the other Middle Eastern cities. Take Cairo, for example. Despite over a century of expansion, political turmoil, and modernization, including even a new capital, the heart of its city, historical Cairo, still survives. Areas like Al-Darb al-Amar, Khan al-Khalili, and Al-Mu'i Street are filled with mosques, madrasas, and marketplaces that have been in use for hundreds of years. Even downtown Cairo, built around the 19th century with European influence due to colonialism, still has a Middle Eastern distinctness to it. Or look at Amman, the capital of Jordan. The city is built outwards around their ruins like the Amman Citadel, rather than destroying everything to make way for a new city. Dubai really just decided to wipe its original urban landscape away and start with a clean slate, and you can feel it too. For example, look at this map. It's of the Dubai Metro. This was the first rapid transit train network in the Arabian Peninsula, having opened in 2009. They already have over 275 million riders annually, with just 2 lines and 55 stations. Most Middle Eastern countries still don't even have metros due to political instability, sanctions, and chronic underinvestment. 3 words that don't represent Dubai at all. Today, Dubai is the most expensive city in the Middle East, with property prices in prime areas now averaging over $12,000 per square meter, placing Dubai among leading luxury destinations like Saint-Tropez and Milan. The sales of homes worth more than $10 million now surpasses traditional luxury markets like New York City. Immigrants from more than 200 countries make up almost 90% of the population, and it's really zoned in on that luxury image. The police drive supercars, the ATMs dispense gold bars, and marinas are filled up with super yachts. The city's millionaire population grew an insane 78% between 2013 and 2023. It's now home to over 72,000 millionaires, 212 with net worths over $100 million or more, and 15 billionaires. With construction resuming on the world islands, an archipelago of small artificial islands constructed in the shape of a world map, and the Palm Jebel Ali, basically a much larger version of the Palm Jumeirah, Dubai seems to be doubling down on its own ambition. Today, Dubai is a city that seems to defy its own geography, a place where luxury is law and ambition feels limitless. But it's also one built on trade-offs: history traded for progress, identity for efficiency, and authenticity for spectacle. Thank you for watching.